What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm excited to bring everyone a new knife review. Today we're going to be talking about the Kikzer Mini Roach. As you know, I've changed my format, so I unbox the knife, carry it, use it, and cut with it to get impressions and thoughts on it. Then I bring the box out here so you can see everything that comes with it. Typical Kikzer fashion. This does have extra hardware. This is the bag that it comes in. You have your Kikzer warranty, paper information, and microfiber cloth inside of the wrap, and then all of this is in the standard Kikzer box that all of their knives come in. Even I think the Sheepdog XL I think comes in that box. So real quick, we'll run through specifications, then we'll bring out the comparison knives for size references. Then we'll talk about the knife and alternatives in case you're interested in those. So the Kikzer Roach has a 2.99 inch 154 cm blade steel, 4.14 inch G10 handles. They come in black or green, 7.13 inches overall, so it is a little bit of a smaller carry, and it is a sub 3 inch blade. Claimed weight is 3.38 ounces, which definitely feels a little bit heavy for such a small knife, but let's go ahead and weigh and see if that's what it's really coming in at. Yeah, so if it's saying 3.38, if I wrote that down right. I might have wrote it down wrong, but it did feel like it was a little bit closer to that 4-ounce weight. So let's go ahead, bring out the comparison knives for size reference, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the knife. First up, we're going to bring out the DLT Trading exclusive Kikzer. No, we're talking about the Kikzer. This is the Spyderco Yojimbo 2, and we're going to bring out the Spyderco Shaman. I don't know if I said Spyderco. It's the Spyderco Shaman, though. As you can see here, this is just much smaller than either one of these, including in the handle. That curve really takes out some of the length of the overall knife. Let's go ahead and move on to the next two. We'll bring out the crossbar locks. Whoops, bouncing stuff around. Getting excited. All right, let's bring out the Benchmade bug out. Benchmade bug out, as you can see here, it's going to be a little bit longer overall because it does have over a 3-inch blade and it does have more handle length there. We'll bring out the SIG K320 made by Hogue. As you can see, it's just smaller overall. Next, we'll bring out the budget knives. First, we'll bring out the Kubi Royal with cheese. As you can see here, I'm going to move these up just a little bit. I'm almost off the edge of my little board here. The Kubi Royal KU321, really similar in size. It's even though the hump here looks like it's not quite as long, it actually is almost identical in size, just a little bit more length. Let's see, on the handle. The handle is just a touch longer because of the straightness. And then we'll bring out the Buck 110, which is the other USA made budget knife that I like to bring out here for the size reference. So hopefully all of these have helped you from a length profile perspective. What we'll do also really quickly is just run through the side profiles so you can see just how thick or thin this knife is. So there it is against the Kubi Royal. And the only other knife that I'm really going to bring out here is going to be the Yojimbo 2, because this is really similar to the Para. Well, actually, it's identical in thickness to the Para 3. They are the same thickness overall. You can see the Kikzer is just a touch longer or thicker than it is for the Yojimbo 2. Now, regarding this knife, we'll start with the blade. This 154 cm black wash blade is done really well. I really do enjoy how Kikzer does the treatment on the black wash. Really nice stoning on it. Looks like it's very worn and faded. Does a really nice job masking the actual blade itself. Now, this is a really thin hollow grind. I mean, it's a thin blade overall, but the hollow grind on it is very thin and very deep. It feels like it's pretty much a flat piece halfway up the grind itself. And then after you get to the end of the grind, you can see here they did do a swedge. That's going to keep it nice and smooth going through the materials, and it definitely feels like that. The edge came really sharp. It's a decent size finger choil here. I do have larger hands, and as you can see, I do get pretty close to that edge. Now, the cool thing about this blade is that flipper tab is removable. You do have to disassemble it to get down into the flipper tab. I mean, down into the blade to remove the flipper tab. But I actually found that I do like having both means of deployment. And for me, I kind of bring my palm back and I use my thumb here when I'm actually using the knife, and it actually works out really well for me as well. Thumb hole really nice on here, very good access, nice for my larger thumbs, really good for the reverse flick as well. Mine does have a heavy detent. It's not super heavy, but it is going to be very hard, if not impossible, to fail this knife when you're using the flipper tab, and certainly not you're not going to fail it when you actually use your thumb or finger for that reverse flick. Blade is very well centered. It has remained centered the entire time that I've carried and tested it. The lockup on here is at 50%. I know it's a little bit hard to tell on these darker blades, and I did get an additional light to help with that a little bit, but I don't know how much it's actually helping. Let me grab my flashlight 1 second. All right, I got my i3 from Olight just to show you down in there. There is some milling on the actual show side. Doesn't look like, and we'll check it from the rear. Yeah, there is no milling on the liner lock side. I'm not really sure about the weight. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the contouring of the scales, and maybe it has just a little bit of that extra steel in the liner for the reinforcement. They go end to end. They are not chamfered. They do butt right up to the scale, and it does a really good job. It doesn't create a hot spot is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't have a hot spot because of the fact that it is flush. The ribbing on the actual backspacer here does a really nice job giving a little bit of extra in the palm grip, because it really does. The ergos on this are really, really good. I wish it was just a touch bigger, because as you can see, when I'm sitting in the natural position here where you want to be, and I could remove that flipper tab and move up, I know that, but when I try to lock in, I end up kind of right on the hump, and I think with smaller hands you would end up inside, and if you try to go back, it spaces it out so far that I end up pulling that middle finger away. And this would be a good grip, you know, if you want to get into the cardboard and then you want to scooch up and then you want to choke up to go down through your push cuts. This is going to be really good on that. Here you go. Here's a demonstration. Really nice and slicey through that paper. Like, there's absolutely no resistance. And then the same thing with the cardboard. I'm literally just holding it super relaxed, and it's just immediately cutting through that cardboard. Really, really nice edge and hollow ground on here. It performs so well, and as I mentioned, really comfortable ergos. It is not a reversible deep carry pocket clip. I was a little surprised at that. Usually Kikzer throws the pocket clip on there reversible, and it definitely looks like it could totally be flipped over without any issues. No lanyard hole, which doesn't bother me at all, because the ergos on this, it's really locked into hand. There's nothing that you need to really grip onto. And because the pocket clip is not all the way up, even when it's in the pocket, it's really easy to grab this pocket clip with the thumb right here on the indentation and pull it out of the pocket with no issues whatsoever. It is not guillotine shut because the blade is so light. The action's very smooth. It's very, very smooth. As you can see, it flies out there between the detent and the ceramic bearings and the pivot. It is very, very smooth. But because the blade is so light, and because it does have such a strong detent, it does take a few shakes to get it down. There's just absolutely no weight on the blade, and that does create a little bit of a problem, because I don't want my fingers onto that blade. When you try to find the balance point, that's your balance point on the knife. So you can tell with the steel liners, the thick G10, hardware, everything, and the super thin light blade, you definitely can feel that it is very butt heavy in the position. You can feel like it's just falling back in. But again, I think the way this knife is built, and it does feel like it is utilitarian, even though it's, you know, a drop point, but it's a very low drop point. You don't have to come up very high to get into your actual draw cuts, your utility cuts. It just locks in the hand so well, and I think that weight does a nice job of keeping everything pushed and pressed down on the finger, so I enjoy that a great deal. Now, here are some of the cons. The honeycomb pattern, You can see they just machined it out to the edge, and you can feel that. The other thing that I've noticed too, going in and out of the pocket, is that catches a little bit when you're trying to pull it out of the pocket with it locked in. When the pocket is like formed over it, it just kind of catches and you kind of feel like so I'm wondering if eventually that's going to saw or anything like that. Again, it is the Roach Mini. I love it from an EDC size perspective. It's just not very friendly for bigger hands. It's a small complaint. It is pretty comfortable when you get to that third finger. It's not really doing anything. It's just my pinky feels like it's landing in a weird spot. And then again, how close I am to the blade's edge when I'm up here. But again, I'm pulling away, not pushing in when I'm doing those cuts through the cardboard to demonstrate. When I'm actually breaking down cardboard, I'm going pretty much straight down or away. And what ends up happening when I choke up anyway is my thumb over top keeps everything kind of pushed, so I'm pushing my fingers away from that edge. But you just want to be careful. I would say if you're going to do any type of puncture task, that you come back or even go behind the guard, get your puncture into your cardboard and go down if that's what you need to do with it. Now, let's talk about some good comparison knives and alternatives here, because I think I have some that are going to really surprise you. Okay, the first one I'm going to bring out is going to be the Spyderco Andela. This is a Sekisui Japan knife. It is not made in China, in case you're interested in alternative knives. I think this is a very good size reference here. It's not identical. It is a little bit smaller, but because the hump is not as arched, but you still end up getting those good ergonomic lines, it does completely fall into the correct spots for my hand. It has a really nice ramp here on the back, and even if you choke up, it does have a lot of grip here for you. So I do think this compares very well and about the same price point. You're getting this for around 75 bucks. You're getting the Delica 4 for around $80. So there is a little bit of a price difference. I would argue the 154 CM is a little bit better than the VG10, but there are some variants for around 99 bucks where you're getting a little bit more premium blade steel. If you want a USA made knife that's around this size point, I have two options for you. I do have, and I know this is the smaller one, but I have the Mini RSK MK1 from Doug Ritter that is made by Hogue. This has a very nice utility shape. It is a little bit smaller than the Roach, but you still get a full 4-finger grip, and you're still getting about the same blade height, but you're getting actually more cutting edge on the Doug Ritter. As you can see here, because that Ford choil, you're getting about, try to bring it up, but I keep hitting the tripod here. Let me do it this way. There we go. You see what I'm saying? You end up with having more cutting edge when you start at the tip and you come back. Just a little bit more cutting edge, if that's what's important to you. Good sharpening choil. And again, you do get, because this is curved, I think that's why you're getting that 4-finger grip when you pull back, but that finger choil gives you more space. Here you don't have as much room to move. You can choke up a little bit, and it does leave a little bit off the back, but a good option. And you're getting that for around 140 USA made, 20 CV steel, able lock, bi-directional G10, which this is going to be a little bit more grippy than the honeycomb. The honeycomb does feel very smooth, but when you're squeezing down on it, those grooves do give you a nice grip. I wouldn't say it was fantastic, but I would say it's a pretty good grip. The other one that I would say for around 99 bucks, if you do want a USA made, that's going to be around the same size as this Blade HQ exclusive Skyline. 20 CV, you are getting a flat grind instead of a hollow grind. It is that very small sized EDC. You are getting a much thinner knife because it only has the one steel liner on this side for the lock bar. So just an overall much thinner knife, much thinner profile. Don't like that pocket clip. I still haven't found anything just yet that'll work on it, but I guess this is a pretty good option. I just wanted to throw a couple out there for folks that might be interested in this. Is this a recommendable knife? Yeah, I think it's pretty recommendable. I think at $75, you're getting 154 CM, really nice stone wash. You're getting a very unique grip position, handle position in here. I actually carried this. Every time I carried this, when I was carrying it and wearing jeans, which wasn't every day, I'm saying every time that I was wearing jeans, I was actually able to throw this in the fifth pocket and carry something else, which I really did enjoy that a lot. I was very surprised how well this went into the pocket, and there was maybe like that much left out of the fifth pocket. So I don't know if I have deep pockets or if it's because of how big I am and the size jeans that I wear, but I was able to carry this in the fifth pocket. I thought that was pretty freaking cool. Fidget factor is really good. Quality feels built pretty well. Definitely a cool knife. I would say it's definitely recommendable. There's certainly other options that you could probably go towards when you're starting to get to that price point. For $72, you could pick up a Conspirator button lock if you're interested in a fidget factor, and if you want a knife that has a fuller blade and a longer handle, that's just a bigger overall knife. You could also, if you wanted a button lock from Kikzer, you could definitely pick up the Beglighter 2 button lock. They have a couple of different variants depending on where you're, what store you're going to. This one here is the Wild Mountain. This one here is the White Mountain Knives exclusive. Really like this as well. So if you're not into the Roach, those are definitely some other options that you could consider. If you think that it's a little too aggressive, another option from Kikzer, if you do like Kikzers, is definitely always going to be the Sheepdog. Still my favorite Kikzer, even with all their button locks. I just love the Sheepdog design. I love this knife, especially the thumb hole variant. I need to back this up some. So let me, I will adjust this later, sorry. Definitely still my favorite, very fidgety. Ever since they got rid of the flipper tab, the thumb hole variant, my favorite because it takes less pocket space. It's a little bit cleaner profile as well. And you also get that nice choke up where the flipper tab used to be for this knife. So that is all the options that I can think of for this one, but it is a nice pickup. It is a solid purchase. I think good materials on here from Kikzer, great action, detent, multiple means of deployment. Very cool that they decided to give you the option to remove that flipper tab, which would not really do too much from the profile because this hump actually sits up over top of the flipper tab. So that's another reason why I didn't decide to ditch it. I also like the security that it gives me by pulling back into it when I'm choking up. I'm actually putting the weight of my finger in here just to make sure that I'm off that edge because I do have the larger hands. So hopefully this really good look helps you. If you did enjoy today's video, do me a favor, leave a like. It really does help me with the channel. I really do appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. And if you are subscribed, thank you for all the support, and make sure everyone has those notification bells turned on so you get alerts when any future videos drop. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, and until next time, guys, peace.